that noise okay for you all?
Yes, fine.
Testing? It's okay? Hey, welcome to a beautiful sunny day here in Reed Park, where we're talking about electric vehicles and how the federal government must continue to support movement towards more and more electric vehicles. I'm Councilmember Kevin Dahl, Ward 3, and I have a statement from Mayor Regino Romero that I'm going to read. The Inflation Reduction Act is delivering real solutions and $40 million to the city of Tucson, helping us expand EV infrastructure, reduce emissions, and create economic opportunities for our community. Thanks to the Biden-Harris administration, the IRA's EV provisions and tax credits are supporting our investments in electrifying Tucson's fleet for a cleaner, healthier future. We currently operate 10 battery electric buses with 10 more on the way. Our fleet includes 70 light-duty EVs, and later this month we will launch Tucson's first electric garbage truck. The EV Readiness Roadmap adopted by Mayor and Council in 2022 is a critical component of our climate action plan, Tucson Resilient Together, with transportation accounting for nearly 1/3 of Pima County's total emissions. Accelerating EV adoption is essential to achieving carbon neutrality and improving air quality in our city. The roadmap not only guides our transition to clean transportation, but also positions Tucson to secure federal infrastructure funding to support this transition. The City of Tucson is leading by example through the strategic decisions of Mayor and Council. These investments, made possible with federal support from the Biden-Harris administration and the IRA, demonstrate our commitment to a sustainable and resilient future for all of Tucson's. A few statements from myself. I've lived in Tucson for a long time, and I've often wondered, why aren't we the exemplary solar energy city? We experience it almost every day here. I know that Tucson supports solar, and solar can support our transportation energy needs. I, like probably several of my friends here, drove here in a hybrid plug-in electric vehicle that I generally run on solar energy by plugging it into my home system. We know that solar energy is clean energy, and that clean energy is good for our families, it's good for our health, it's good for our economy, and it's good for our planet. I'm proud to be here to support what's good for everybody, to continue moving forward with the investments made in Tucson. And I'm here to encourage the new administration to get on board with this direction that so many people support. Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brian Drummond. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brian Drummond, Chair and Co-founder of Arizona Health Professionals for Climate Action.
Hello, my name is Brian Drummond, and I'm an emergency physician, Navy veteran, and the chair of Arizona Health Professionals for Climate Action, as well as an electrical vehicle owner. I love having an electric vehicle, and I switched in 2020 and have not looked back. I love how fun an EV is to drive, with its responsive acceleration allowing me to merge on a highway or change lanes. EVs are also quiet, easy to maintain. I have over 100,000 miles on my EV, and the only maintenance costs are tires, air filters, windshield wipers, and at the 4-year mark, I had to change the AC desiccant bag. No oil changes, no replacing brake pads. Regenerative braking saves energy, and you rarely have to use the brake pedal with an electric vehicle. EVs don't require you sitting in line at a gas station. Instead, I plug in at home using my solar panels whenever I need a charge. This is such a convenience. Last year, I saved $1,600 in gasoline alone by charging at home. People worry about range anxiety. I have traveled on 3 trips, over 3,000 miles, going to Oregon, Yellowstone National Park, Minnesota, and Ohio. There are nationwide fast chargers that continue to expand coverage and help allow you to charge wherever you need and wherever you travel. If you follow the map on your car, it'll tell you where to charge and how much will be left on your battery. I tell my friends and family it's like going from a flip phone to a smartphone. Once you switch to electric vehicles, people don't look back. I enjoyed the experience so much, we bought our second electric vehicle in 2023, taking advantage of the Inflation Reduction Act $7,500 tax credit. The EV tax credit, which is under threat from the current administration, helps make electric vehicle ownership approachable for more Arizonans. Access to EV is an important part of Arizona for other reasons related to our health. One of the largest sources of greenhouse gas emissions in our state is the transportation sector. Internal combustion engines produce carbon dioxide and nitric oxides, which lead to multiple human harms. Some of these health effects include increased birth defects, low birth weights, autism, ADHD, increased fetal death. Health effects include cancer, respiratory illness, and even increased dementia rates. The American Lung Association in 2024 graded Pima and Maricopa counties with an F in air quality. This leads to an increase in emergency room visits, hospitalizations, and over 1,300 premature deaths each year in Arizona alone. By transitioning to a more stable, sustainable transportation system, such as electric vehicles, we can decrease the consumption of fossil fuels in this sector and spur on an electric transportation economy. Please join me in advocating for Senators Kelly, Grijalva, Representative Siscomani, and to keep the IRA tax credits. Electric vehicles make economic sense and improve our air quality and health. Plus, who doesn't like to drive a car with a little more zip? I would like to thank you very much, and I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Antonio Ramirez.
I'm going to wrap this up with a poem by Wendell Berry called A Vision. I like the way that it flows into what I'm going to say, so I'm not going to stop and let you know when it starts, but you'll know. My name is Antonio Ramirez, and I am the Political and Policy Director for Rural Arizona Engagement. I'm a father of two. I have a 4-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son, and they're one of the biggest reasons I'm here today, because I want to secure a better future for my children. But long before I worked for Raise, and long before I even thought about having kids, I embarked on an adventure. I found a job as a deckhand on a salmon tender in Southeast Alaska. And last night I was on the phone with my old captain, and we had a conversation about just what's happening in Alaska, and we remembered this old discussion we had on the way up from Seattle to Ketchikan through the Inside Pass. My old captain spent his entire life doing this work, making the same trip every year, and there was always a good amount of snow on the mountaintops. But he began to realize that this was no longer the case. Ever since then, he's continued to notice changes. Migration patterns for salmon and birds are shifting. His childhood summers that were cold, wet, and rainy have been replaced with warmer, drier, sunnier weather. He told me last season, from the beginning of July to the end of August, every day was sunny except for one. My old captain is Alaskan native. His family is from Metlakatla. One of his elders who lives there spends as much time as he can outside, fishing, hunting, and gathering. His elder has a keen awareness of the environment around him, and in recent years, he noticed the hummingbirds hadn't migrated south for the winter. All the way from Alaska to Arizona, people in rural communities who live and work by the land recognize that changes are occurring. They're witnesses to the incredible impacts humans have on the environment, and increasingly, they're demanding action and asking to be part of the solution. Not just for themselves, but for their communities, for their children, and for the world around them. I'm here today because we need to take action now. Jobs and investments in rural communities are under attack. Opportunities for working class families to invest in home energy improvements and electric vehicles, decisions that can actually save families money in the long run, are under attack. The most ambitious climate legislation in the United States history, the Inflation Reduction Act, is under attack. I call on Representatives Juan Ciscomani and Raul Grijalva, as well as Senators Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego, to withstand the attack. If we have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing, enriching it. If we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, then a long time after we are dead, our lives prepare will live here. Their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens rich in the windows. And next and last will be Nick Arnold.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Nick Arnold. I am the Arizona State Director with Climate Cabinet Education. We work with state and local leaders to work on climate change solutions. And one of the reasons I'm here is I grew up with a pretty bad case of asthma. I was constantly on nebulizers, had to carry around inhalers with me everywhere. And I've since been fortunate to outgrow that, but the pollution from vehicles is a major source for why I was agitated as a child with that health condition. And last November, I was able to take advantage of this tax credit to buy my first pollution-free vehicle, my Honda Prologue right here, my dog in the front seat. And I've been so grateful for the opportunity to drive around and not contribute to other people's respiratory problems the way that mine were contributed to. I also, like Dr. Drummond and Councilman Dahl, have rooftop solar, and one of the best things for me as a 10-year-long climate advocate is being able to charge my car with the sun. When I'm driving around town, I'm using the rooftop solar energy that I'm generating and not contributing to our ongoing problems of air pollution and climate change. I also am really excited that I am fortunate enough to have purchased with the tax credit a new EV, which means in a couple of years when I maybe change it out for a different one, I will be contributing to a building used EV market that doesn't have the same range anxiety concerns that previous iterations of used EVs are, because I actually was at the Capitol yesterday up in Phoenix and drove directly here on half of the charge of my car. No anxiety whatsoever, and that's something that we're continuing to improve on with these electric vehicles. And I'm really excited for people who might not currently be able to afford a new EV to take advantage of the used market that we are creating with this tax credit. On climate change, transportation emissions are Arizona's biggest contributor to carbon dioxide emissions. It's also nationally one of our biggest contributors. And in a state like Arizona, we love transit, we want to invest more in it, but cars are the way so many Arizonans get around, and we need to be making sure that the pollution from vehicles is eliminated. Electric vehicles are pollution-free vehicles, and this is one of our best solutions, and making them more affordable and accessible is a critical role for our governments. I am so grateful for the investments in Arizona that are not only making electric vehicles like mine more affordable, but also the charging infrastructure that we already have so much of, making it even better. I need stronger fast chargers to be able to confidently get back and forth from Phoenix at the drop of a hat. And right now, that is possible, but we can improve on that with the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program. We also have over 64,000 jobs that have been committed in Arizona because of these investments, with a pretty low ratio of state and local investments to private sector investments because of the Inflation Reduction Act. We cannot afford to not be investing in the future of Arizona's sustainable economy, and that's what the Inflation Reduction Act has done for Arizona. We need to protect these jobs, we need to protect these investments in Arizona's climate-friendly future, and we need to make sure that our congressional delegation understand what it will cost Arizona if these investments are rolled back. So I echo my colleagues' calls on Senator Mark Kelly, Senator Ruben Gallego, Congressman Raul Grijalva, and Congressman Juan Ciscomani to protect the investments in Southern Arizona's economy and the rest of Arizona's environmental and climate future. Thank you.